Welcome back, you lovely bunch. Thanks for tuning in again. Hope you're all doing good. Right, today we're actually going to have a little bit of a review of this IGP630 by IGS Sport. So I'm sure many of you, like me, had never heard of this company before. I've heard of like Garmin, I've heard of Wahoo, I've heard of Brighton. A while ago, it was pretty much Wahoo and Garmin. Brighton have been around for ages, but have become a lot more prominent on the scene over the last few years. So it's not like there's no room for another brand out there. And whilst bike computers are awesome, they're amazing bits of kit, they display all your data, they're great for training, they're great for routes, they're great for navigation, loads and loads of awesome uses. But they're also crazy expensive. When I was at Giro, I was riding with Nick and Juliet, and they both had the funkiest, fanciest new Garmin. Not sure what one it is, but it's like colour screen, it's got loads of features, it's got like map tracking, it displays like the climbs you're on, it tells you all the climbs that are coming up, it basically tells you everything. But I think it's about like £600. I mean, when we're buying like smartphones and Di2 gears, like ETAP, do we really want to be spending another £600 on a bike computer? I mean, that's a lot. So what would be really nice is if a company produced an affordable cycle computer that did the same things as these much more expensive cycle computers, but it was just much cheaper. And that's where these guys come in. £199 for this unit. It has a lot of the features that Garmin, Wahoo, Brighton have. I'll put a little list of them up here because there's far too many to go through. So before I tested this out, I wanted to put a route on it. I wanted to test out the turn-by-turn navigation, see how that works. So I simply linked it to my commute account. Really easy to do. I picked the route that I wanted, that downloaded to the device, and then it was simply a matter of selecting the routes on the front of the screen of the device. So you literally just go down to navigation. I've gone past it. Okay, and then you can go to your routes, and then there we have the gravel ride, and it will automatically process, gives you your loop, and it gives you turn-by-turn navigations. So the only downside I can say actually to the route mapping and the turn-by-turn navigation is that there's no rerouting. So one of the paths that I was riding down yesterday was closed, and because it doesn't have a reroute function, I mean, luckily for me, I knew an alternative route. But if you were somewhere you hadn't been before and you weren't familiar with the area, it could be a bit troublesome, but not the end of the world. It does do route by route navigation. It's pretty easy to use. The screen on this is really good. Like, it's a 2.6 inch color TFT something. Basically, I don't know the details. I'm not going to go into the details. Do we really care about details? It looks really nice, and look, it's colourful. Another downside I'd say is it's not touchscreen. I did actually think this was quite a good thing to start with because it means you don't accidentally press the buttons, but it just makes everything a little bit long-winded. So you have your like power button on the side that also works as a back button. You have your select button here on the other side. Can I show you this? And then we have, this is how you select stuff. You basically go up and down with the side buttons. And there's two more buttons here on the bottom, and that's like your start ride and your lap button. So there's a lot of buttons on there, but yeah, I like a touchscreen. I definitely prefer a touchscreen. But when we're talking £199 compared to the Garmin, say, which is like £600, I mean, I'll make do with some like side buttons rather than a touchscreen, to be honest. The display is so clear. I mean, look at this. Can you see this? Look how nice this is. Then you have multiple pages that you can choose between. You can customize all these pages. You can put anything you want on it. So like I said, I was riding at Giro. Everyone had funky, fancy Garmins. And we were doing a climb, and they had the route pre-programmed onto their device. And as they were coming up to climbs, they could tell the gradient, like how long it was, how far it was to the top, like everything. They had all this information. And I was a little bit jealous. And I was testing out this device at Giro. But what I didn't know is if I'd have pre-programmed the route, I'd have had a lovely display displaying exactly the same thing on my screen. So on my ride yesterday, I didn't know what this device actually did when it came to pre-planned routes. So it was a nice surprise that when I was scrolling through the pages, one of them did show the 3 main climbs of the ride, and then it showed the distance, how far in they were, and then when you hit the climb, you got like a really nice graphic on the screen that shows you whereabouts you were on the climb, when it got steeper, how far it was to the top, and like all this information. And this is something I was not expecting a £200 device to be doing. I mean, a really nice touch to this device. You know, I thought it'd be a bit basic. I thought it wouldn't do everything that the more expensive devices can do. But as it turns out, like every time I use this, I've been pleasantly surprised. So downloading a route onto it was so easy. You can design something on Komoot and then just chuck it over to here. Super easy, no hassle. Do it on Strava, do it on whatever you want. It's just Really simple. So full transparency, I was given the device for free to test out. I'm not being paid for this review. I don't get paid for reviews. There's a lot of things I'll do for money. I'll do an unboxing for money. I'll show you bikes for money. But what I'm not going to do for money is review something, because I feel you can't really do that on YouTube. So, not being paid for this, but still bloody love it. I think it's dead good. You can change the themes on it. I mean, there's only 3 you can choose from, and honestly, they're not really that different. But you can program workouts into it, so you can go up here to the let's go to the training, and we'll select that. And so you can pair it with your smart trainer, so you can have workouts on there. So you see you can do like an FTP test. I should probably do one of these at some point. Add your power sensor, and then you can do an FTP test on this. That's quite cool, right? And I'm sure lots of devices do that kind of stuff. Do you reckon I should use a device to try and do an FTP test? My FTP result would be awful at the moment. The turn-by-turn navigation was really clear. You can either use the map screen, which gives you a constant visual of like where you are, when the turns are coming up, etc., which means it's really good for navigating if you're navigating something quite technical. Whereas if the route you're riding isn't that complicated, there's only a few turns in it, you can have all your data displayed, you can have your power meter up there, you can do your training, do all that stuff, and at the bottom of the screen it just tells you that in 50 meters, 100 meters, 20 meters, it gives you a countdown of when the turn's coming up. Right, so let's do a proper sit down conclusion review, like an actual review for once of this. Right, £199. So price wise, I'd say compared to its competitors that do a very similar thing, really affordable. You don't get the touchscreen, it's not as large as a Garmin, say for example. It is also about £400 cheaper. So, you know, does the same thing. It's really easy to set up. It will pair with your power meter, it will pair with your Di2, your ETAP, it pairs with your heart rate monitor, your cadence sensor, your speed sensor, it will pair with your turbo trainer. I mean, it pairs with everything. I mean, there's a lot of electrics on bikes, aren't there, these days? That's a lot of electric for a pedal-powered device. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. So, it pairs super easily with everything. It's affordable. It has a map function, and the map function isn't a pain in the arse to use. It's actually really easy. It's literally just drag something from Komoot, and it's there. It's ready to go. Turn-by-turn navigation, really good. I believe you can also download maps, so rather than have this displayed, you can actually have the map on there as well, which is super cool. It does so much stuff. It's got all these satellite things, and basically what all these satellite things mean is it works. And not only does it works really well, and it works incredibly well for the price. I really rate it. I think it's dead good, and I'm going to be using it a little bit more. But yeah, so far so good. This is the IGP Sport IGS630 bike computer thing. That's my review. Thank you as always for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Bye.